to it, there's been something that's been heavy on my heart over the last month or so, and it's been kind of tugging at it. And so I wanted to bring that to you today, because as we work together and work with each other, and not just here, but also outside with other places as we do God's work, the topic that's been tugging at me is the importance of words and how they can either build up the kingdom or tear down the kingdom. Jesus pointed out the importance of words in Matthew 12. He says, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you'll be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. This is the power of our tongues. As I go through this morning, I'm going to mention different scriptures. I would encourage you to write those down. And if you can't look them up right now, that's okay, because I kind of got a good pace here. But look back at them through the week. Though they are so large and they are driven by strong winds, they are guided by a very small rudder wherever the will of the pilot directs. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by hell. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and sea creature, can be tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With it we bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse people who are made in the likeness of God. From the same mouth come blessing and cursing, my brothers. These things ought not to be so. Does a spring pour forth from the same opening both fresh and salt water? Can a fig tree, my brothers, bear olives, or a grapevine produce fruit figs? Neither can a salt pond yield fresh water. The power of words. Words are power. Words change direction. In verse 3, James writes that if we put bits in the mouths of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole bodies as well. Words influence. I love alien movies. I love space movies. Now, I'm not a Trekkie, or I'm not a Star Wars geek, or whatever they call them. And if anyone is here, please forgive me, but I just not. My wife, on the other hand, is a huge Trekkie, and she watches every variation of it, and she enjoys it. And I watch it with her, so I'm not like pointing keep my nose up on it, but it's interesting. But there was a movie about 20 years ago called Independence Day. Who remembers that movie, Independence Day? Yeah, great movie. I really enjoyed that movie. Right in the big moment of that movie, the president makes this speech to an army, a worldwide army of people who were about to give up. They didn't know what to do. So he gave them this big speech. At the end of the speech, he turned them. He influenced them. And they were ready to fight. He took a ragtag group of global warriors to fight these aliens. He influenced them. He made them change their direction. We look at Proverbs 18:21, and it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." In that movie, death and life were in the power of the tongue, because had he not given that inspirational message, who knows what would have happened. But he influenced them. He inspired them. We can see the power of the tongue, the power of words, in every part of our life, everywhere. Communication and how words are used has been a very hot topic in the Garza household. Let me give you a little background. Um, we're a blended family. So my wife had 2 girls, and I had 2 boys, so it's kind of like a half Brady Bunch situation that happened. I say half only because the boys didn't really live with us. They were all grown. But getting to know each other and getting to understand each other posed a challenge because we're different people. Now, you're going to say, well, yeah, whenever someone gets married, period, they're different people. But when you add more people, right? So I came into a household of 3, so I was outnumbered. I'm joking. I came into this household trying to blend in, trying to understand, and so the way we communicated was really important. Were we great at it? No. There are many times where I hurt feelings, where they hurt my feelings, when miscommunication, where we just, things were taken the wrong way, and even the tone of voice can change something in a heartbeat. Think about, tell me if this relates to you. You have a conversation, or there's maybe even a disagreement, and then just one word, the way it's spoken or the way it's received, changes the temperature in the house from 70 to 40. Quick. And it's just one word can do that. One word can change something just like that. And because we're different, we have to learn to get to work with each other. I moved into a situation where it was a house full of introverts. On paper, I'm an introvert, but I act like an extrovert, so I don't know, I'm messed up. So I don't know what happened. But the point is that we have to respect each other's wiring. We have to respect the way God made us, because we're all in the likeness of God. Excuse me. So when I think about, as I was thinking about words, I really came down to where words can be described as small and mighty. And we see that in James 4, where large ships can be controlled by a small rudder. Then I also thought that words fall into categories. I recognize 3 categories, and we'll take you through the 3. First, there's the positive side of words, the positive side. We'll take note of 2 examples here. The first one is Ephesians 4:29. Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Words can build someone up. Words can encourage. 1 Thessalonians 5 through 11. Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you're doing. What's the primary message here? Building up. This is the positive side of words, building up. And we do that in all walks of life. We have the choice of building up or knocking down. It's a choice. When my son was younger, I coached his baseball team from the time he was 5 years old to the time he was about 11 or 12. He played well, and we had fun. And so, we'd coach these kids, and probably at the 3rd year, we had this little guy on our team, and he was small. He was like physically small guy, and he really tried. And he would go up there, and he caught good. He just couldn't bat well. And so at first he would stand at the plate. Anyone here been coaches for baseball or anything, softball or anything? Anybody? No? Oh, one. All right, there you go. When you send a kid up to bat, you teach him how to swing the bat. You teach him how hit the ball. But this little guy, for the first so many months, he would walk up there and just stand there. Strike, strike, strike. He wouldn't swing. And we're like, hey, swing. Just swing. Doesn't matter, swing. And nothing. Then he got around to swinging. He'd swing and swing and swing. Sometimes he'd swing really lazy. Sometimes he'd swing so hard, he'd almost like he's going to drill himself into the ground because he spun around like 4 or 5 times, But the whole time, it's like, swing. I was getting frustrated. He was getting frustrated. His parents were getting frustrated. But he kept doing it. So one time after another spectacular strikeout, he was walking back to the dugout, but this time he was dragging his bat, and he was looking down, and I saw a tear. That's never happened. So I kind of took him off to the side, and I said, hey, you okay? Did you get hurt or something? And he says, no, I can't hit the ball. I don't get it. He was just like at a loss because he couldn't hit the ball. And in that moment, I had a choice. I could have said, well, you got to try harder. You got to practice more. Get to the batting cages, do something. You can do it, right? But my heart broke. And I told him, I said, well, listen, I said, did you try? He goes, yeah, I tried. I said, did you do everything we taught you to do? Yeah, I did everything. I swung, and yeah, I felt like I did everything. I said, but are you having fun? He says, yes, I'm having fun. I like this. I just can't hit the ball. I said, well, then that's okay. Have fun. You're going to hit the ball eventually. It's going to happen. Just have fun. Don't think about it. Believe it, and you'll hit it. A couple games later, he's up the plate, and it goes strike 1, strike 2, and I go, here comes the strikeout. Next pitch, bam! This thing went flying out into the outfield. I was surprised. His parents were surprised. The umpire was surprised. Everybody was surprised. Like jaws just dropping everywhere. And he was mostly surprised. He forgot to run. He's standing at home plate. We're like, run, man, run. He's running. And then next thing we're like, drop the bat. He's taking the bat to first base. So he makes it to first. And then, after the inning, I went up to him and I said, you did it. You hit the ball. You hit the ball far. He says, I believed it. I believed I can do it. I believed I could do it. I was like, right, you believe you can do it. So I'm not saying that I was magic coach or anything like that. I'm not saying I'm perfect in any way. What I'm saying is that I had a choice, and that choice was to help build him up. I told him also, and this is something that I tell my kids, and one of them is here, and she loves this statement. Loves it. I said, it's not about perfection. It's about effort. Are you trying? Did you try? And that's what I told him that day. Did you try? Yeah, I tried. Good. So when we choose our words, we need to ask ourselves, are we building up the kingdom? Are we encouraging it? Encouragement brings happiness. So words can bring happiness. So he went home happy that day, the little guy. And then what I learned from that day, too, is whenever I would talk to the other players, I would tell them, hey, great job. And I didn't care if they struck out, grounded out, flied out, whatever, I said, great, even if they got hit by a pitch, great job. But it was the same response, it's like, good job. Build them up. Build up everyone around you. That's the light side of the word, of words. So where there's light, there's darkness. And there is a dark side. So there's a dark side of words. In the same breath, we can bless and curse. Let's go back to James 3:10. From the same mouth come blessing and cursing, my brothers, and these things ought not to be so. When I was a young kid, we would, my friends, we would entertain ourselves. We didn't have iPads or cell phones or anything. We had baseball bats, bicycles, and outside. We went outside. We went outside. We'd leave the house at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we'd have to be back before the street lights came on. And if we came after the street lights came on, that's a whole different sermon. A whole different situation. So we would be out, and we would be doing the thing. We were kids, so, it is what it is. We get in trouble. And we have mouths on us. Our vocabulary was very colorful. And so we were talking to each other, just calling each other's names, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but what I do remember is there was a elderly woman that walked by, and she's like, quit talking that way. Stop that. Do you kiss your mothers with that mouth? We're like, ooh, that's weird. That's what we thought at the moment. Like, what are you talking about? We kind of looked at her like, lady, you're crazy. But the reality is, it's true, right? It's like, if we show love to our mothers, the next thing you know, we're talking like that. We're doing this, we're doing that. We're blessing and cursing at the same time. Same mouth, two different things. There's a common saying, especially in the South. The saying is, bless your heart. Anyone use that? Bless your heart. Now, in one respect, it's okay. If you hear about someone being sick or dying or something, you say, bless your heart. And, it's because you're showing empathy. You're showing sympathy. You're showing you're caring. But there's the flip side. There's the, oh, look at her, look at, them. It's, oh, bless their heart. Oh, bless his heart. And but it comes with a smile, right? Oh, bless their heart. Bless her heart. Oh, what a foolish thing. Bless their heart, right? And so it's, again, same words, different meaning. One is blessing, the other is cursing. We can be inconsistent with words. We can be inconsistent with words. James 3, does a spring pour forth from the same opening both fresh water and salt water? Can a fig tree, my brothers, bear olives, or grapevine produce figs? Neither can a salt pond yield fresh water. A couple weeks ago, Pastor Tim joined us and shared the word, and he shared with us the story of Judas Iscariot. And I think Judas is a great example of an inconsistent word. He tells Jesus, I'm sure he tells Jesus to his face that he loves him, and he follows him, and he's just being a true disciple, loyal, right? But the first chance he gets, what does he do? He lets the devil take over, or the devil took him over. And he betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. Inconsistent. Think about our lives, too. Inconsistent. And this is, I hear this a lot with kids. You say, hey, I thought you were going to clean your bedroom today. Oh, no, I didn't say that. Or you're talking to someone, and then they mumble something under their breath. Like, hey, yeah, whatever. What are you going to do? And you say, what'd you say? Oh, nothing. I didn't say anything. Inconsistency in our tongues. And then words can destroy. Words can be harmful. Words can lead to some very unfortunate things. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but what? Words will never hurt me, right? I like this. This is very clever. I like this one. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever bounces off me will stick to you, right? It's like, Remember hearing that? Oh, yeah? Well, I'm rubber, you're glue. Proverbs 18:21. So it's Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Death and life. When you think about that, it's kind of extreme, death and life. But it's true. And this darkness with words is really present in social media. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not that I hate social media. I think it's become I would say a necessary evil. It's a way for us to keep in contact with our family across the country or across the world, our friends. It helps us keep informed, educated. It helps us to share information. So there is a benefit to social media. However, the dark side starts, social media gives everyone an opportunity to share their opinion. Now, sometimes they wind up in little banter back and forth. It's very vanilla, doesn't hurt anybody, and that's fine. But sometimes it gets worse. It becomes negative, destructive, even deadly. Pastor Steve talked about the COVID era, and in March 20, when COVID took over the world, we all went into lockdown. Most of us had to work from home. All of us had to stay home. And what kept us connected to the world? Social media, right? So we had Zoom parties, right? Zoom happy hours, Zoom game nights, Zoom just get together, our small groups met via Zoom, prayers through Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, all those became our connection to the outdoors. And that connection was used by a young lady in Japan. Her name is Hana Kimura. Hana Kimura. She was a young lady. She was a Japanese pro wrestler. She was a Japanese reality TV star and what they call a media or social media influencer. I still don't understand that part. Maybe I'm too old to understand that part. That's okay. So she had an Instagram following of over 240,000 people, and her other platforms were just going up just as much. And as it continued, her social media presence grew. That's all she did. She was just on social media all the time. And so then her base grew, and as much as people loved her and enjoyed being in contact with her, there was also a group that didn't. Those people went negative on her. Those people started bullying her. Virtual bullying. So it's not even face-to-face. It's virtual. It's the written word that was being sent to her in a negative way. Messages became nastier. They crossed lines for sure. Someone wrote once, "You have such an alpha personality. Is your life worth living?" Someone else wrote, hey, when will you die? Hey, when will you die? My gosh. What takes a person to write that? And the impact that would have on someone when they read that. Over and over and over again. On May 23rd, 2020, Hana posted a picture of herself and her cat with a message saying goodbye. A few minutes later, she posted another picture with the cat. And it said, "I love you, live long and happy, I'm sorry." Words destroyed the life of a 22-year-old girl. Sticks and stones may break our bones. I don't buy it, because words can harm, words can hurt, words can destroy. When singer Susan Boyle heard of this story, she wrote, when you're a child, grown-ups always tell you that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. They say it if it's kind of a spell that's going to protect you. I've never seen the logic of it. Cuts and bruises quickly disappear. You forget all about them. The psychological wounds inflicted by bullies with words go much deeper. Go much deeper. Words build up and words tear down. Here's the good news. The third category is that there's a godly side of words. Words that can be characterized by being pure and peaceful. Words can bring us peace. The teachings of Jesus teaches us. Because if we succumb to the worldly wisdom, and that's the point right there, worldly wisdom, then our tongues will be infused with bitterness that will show itself through bragging and a denial of truth. On the other hand, godly wisdom would lead us to pure and peaceable speech. Jesus teaches us, as we follow Jesus, we know the difference between hurtful words and building words. This is our call to action. God calls us to clean our tongues of these destructive words. Colossians 3, verse 8. Colossians 3, verse 8. But now you must put them all away: anger, wrath, malice, slander, and obscene talk from your mouth. Anger, wrath, malice, slander, and obscene talk from your mouth. How do we do it? Who has a swear jar? Anyone have a swear jar? They still popular? Nobody? Come on, don't leave me alone up here, come on. That's one way of doing it. Say a bad word, kind of throw some money in there. Accountability buddies. This is, I believe, as strong as having an accountability buddy to help you keep yourself in line. I have several. My wife, she keeps me in line when I vary off a little, and I think she enjoys that. Pastor Steve keeps me accountable. That's why I don't like talking to him. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I love the guy. I have several men in the church who keep me accountable. And it's helped me so much. So, we get rid of the words. And second, we seek wisdom. We seek wisdom. And an example of this is King Solomon in 1 Kings 3. 1 Kings 3. King Solomon is leading God's people, and he says, I don't know how to carry out my duties. Please give me wisdom. Here's King Solomon saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to handle this. Please give me wisdom. And God is so pleased by that request and gives him wisdom and far more than that. If you look through Proverbs, you see that over and over that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Giving your life to God, giving your life to Jesus. That wisdom, when it comes to you through the Spirit, gives you that redeeming grace. So this leads me to my final question for all of us. So, God gives us redeeming grace. So here's the question. Do our hearts accept it? Because when you see the essence of our words clearly give a view as a window to our hearts. So our words show us where our hearts are. And then that type of speech that governs our life displays the work of God in our hearts. The type of speech that governs our life displays the work of God in our hearts. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I have it figured out, because I struggle. We all struggle. But I work hard. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it slips. But God's word in our hearts, in my heart, I try to demonstrate. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's not. Where our speech is worldly, when we use the world as our influence, we see that we're being directed by that earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. But when our speech is characterized by purity and peace, we see that the grace of redemption has taken root and it's spreading through our hearts and our lives. So, my challenge to all of us is, what does your tongue reveal about your heart? As we leave here today, think about that. As we speak to people, as we communicate with people, as you as an extrovert speaking to an introvert, or you as an introvert speaking to an extrovert, or one culture speaking to another culture, what does your tongue reveal about your heart? Are you maturing in your speech? Do you ever find your tongue being a restless evil that you can't control? Are you relying on Jesus to help you? Are you following Jesus? Are you giving your life to Jesus? Through Jesus, we have the wisdom. Through Jesus, we are saved. Jesus can help us overthrow the demonic words that occasionally flow from our mouths, and then fill us with that purity and peace. Jesus fills up that void.